This is Sly.
What's up, everybody? Activ8.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Activ8 Radio. And we are here to activate your mind while we entertain and educate. And today is a special show.
It is
dedicated to Mom. My mom, Johnny's mom, and everybody's mom. So, Fosco, you're in Arizona hanging out.
Hey Z, just got hit by hail in the face.
Yes. Everybody's celebrating their mom today, and so we thought it'd be cool to just go over some key things that we've learned from our moms, because everybody's learned a lot from their mom, hopefully.
I mean, here's what's crazy. It's like we learn a lot from our mom, like, and I'm not coming at you at all, because I would say the same thing, but that is the biggest understatement ever. Like our mothers, and I know how you speak of yours, and obviously how I speak of mine. They don't teach us. We're part of them. Like they shape us.
Yep.
And I when you really think about it, I don't think it should take a day, right, Mother's Day, for us to really appreciate what they have done for us and what they do for us, and how, like, we talk about value in friends, right? It's like, how loyal is your mother? When you think, it's like, how loyal is your fucking mother? I mean, it's like, and we all overlook that. Like shame on all of us for overlooking that, and that's something that I just think we should celebrate and be aware of.
I'll tell you I'll tell you about loyalty in my mom, and it just popped up even more in my face recently. For you guys that don't know that you're members of Cory Fitness, when you're dealing with customer service, that's my mom. So you better not be mean to her.
You better have some respect for info at CoryGFitness.com. That's what I'm telling you.
My mom is on it, and she's like, look, if they ain't paying, they're not seeing the information. Like she's funny. But what's cool about it is that when I was looking for somebody to help me, they have to be in my bank account. They have to be dealing with the money. They have to be able to deal with the customer. And mom was looking for a side gig, and boom, the loyalty was like, it was like a badge on her chest, like, to really take care of my business. And so not only was she loyal in every other aspect, dude, she's exceeded my expectations by far. It's unbelievable, Johnny.
Well, and Cora, like, you can trust her. And It's like, how good does that feel?
It's unbelievable. And I just gave her a raise yesterday, a little bonus, and she's crushed it, man. So it's
nice.
been
That's great to hear.
It's been unbelievable. So, but I mean, loyalty. You know what, John? You've spoke about that since we started this partnership, about how loyalty might even be a fault. You said to some degree.
Oh yes, it has been.
And I think that's like, if you got to be a fault at one thing, and I would say actually mine's similar to that too from my last venture, is like, I'd rather be looked upon that way than the opposite way as not loyal any day.
Oh, without a doubt, it's like loyalty undoubtedly has been I don't want to say my downfall, but the mistakes I have made in business have been due to being over loyal and not auditing, not checking in on people that I believe I should trust, and I am loyal to. And when you actually have somebody who deserves that level of, I don't want to call it oversight, but that deserves to be viewed that way, it's just an amazing thing. And that's why I believe we do give thanks on a day like today, because I think that's what our mothers represent to all of us, that they're like our champions, right? They are the appropriate cheerleader of everything we do, And listen, I want to apologize to those out there who have not, maybe gotten dealt the best hand with mothers, but I'm sure they either have a good father or they have a good mentor. Mother is a word that's, to me, it's just synonymous with a leader or someone who guides you,
Oh yeah, because here's the one thing I'll say to that. So, my wife has had an interesting relationship with her mom, and so it's one of those things. But the things you learn can make you a better mom, and the same thing with my dad, like made me a better dad. So like I'm always looking for the positive. So those of you out there that maybe your mom didn't represent what it represented for John and I, there's hopefully somebody in your life that has represented that figure of a mother. And if not, you have a choice as a mom, if you're a woman, to change that, I call it like circle, right? Don't let it keep going. You change it. Just, we talk about business like this all the time, but it happens in family too. Like you get a chance to break the trend. So this is still a positive.
And
You gotta take it that way.
think about it like this. It's like, if you know the feeling of being treated, openly mistreated the wrong way, and you were able to identify that, whether it be as a child or as a young man or young woman, well, when it's your turn to be a parent, the last thing you want to do is give your child that feeling. So when you talk about learning, Cory, it's like sometimes parents are great teachers by making great mistakes.
Absolutely.
And one thing, and this has caused problems with me and my parents, but I really believe in it. Parents are idolic figures to most of us. Like, oh, my mom, oh, my dad. But at the end of the day, they're just people like you and me. Do they deserve respect for provide? Absolutely, they do. But they're human beings that make mistakes. And I think an amazing thing happens if and when you can get to the place where both sides, the parent and the child, can talk to each other as individuals and as human beings. Then I think there's like some unspoken bonding that goes on, because listen, you're a parent, I'm not, but like parents know when they fuck up, right?
Yeah, of course.
They just don't say it because their children are so it's a really interesting dynamic. But all in all, I think we just have to be thankful what the positives they have given us, even if they have given us some negatives.
Absolutely. I think so. That's really number one, is loyalty. Hopefully that your parents, mom especially that we're talking about today, has a loyalty that no one else can match.
Exactly.
Number two, I'd like to kind of touch on. My mom's always kind of preached the respect to elders, and whether that's your grandparents, whether that's older people in your town. I think it came from growing up in the church, and always like helping the old ladies in, making sure you ask the older gentlemen about their past, and just like I learned how to respect the older generation, and she kind of like instilled that at a young age, and how I could learn from them. How like it's amazing, like some of the shut-ins that were at our church, like if you just try to talk to them for 2 minutes, like it brightens their whole day up. And just to understand that they're in their later life, and anybody young that takes any type of interest in them, even for a couple minutes, makes their day. And I think that was that's the way that I've continued on to treat people. And really, she started instilling that like between 8 and 10 years old. So I think that like respecting my elders was, which you always hear is kind of cliche, but
But there's a difference between throwing that term out and actually explaining it or expressing it in a way where your child understands it and carries it out. And it's like, for me, my mom touched on that, but what she did more than anything, what she does more than anything, is she lets me know whether it's the guy at the toll booth, or the guy mowing my lawn, or the guy at the car wash. Like, if I am not kind to that person, or if I treat that person without respect, elder or not, like to her, that is like she's ashamed of me, and she should be. And I learned from that, because it's taught me to not to say that I'm there yet, but to really work on being aware of being kind to everybody, not just those who can benefit you.
Yeah, everybody, like in your day-to-day life, basically.
Right.
Well, your moms are very artistic, right? So like, does she have a kind of like a hippie side to her, John? Is that fair to say?
Not a hippie, but she's very sensitive.
There you go.
It's funny. We were just talking. She's like, I remember you were so mad at me because I rented Braveheart for you when you were like 12 years old, and I told you we were going to watch it together. And once I saw someone get their throat slit, I left the room. And I think to this day you're still mad at me because I didn't watch that movie with you, and it's like your favorite. And I'm like, wow, no. But like the point is this is like she's so like artistic and sensitive that she cannot view suffering. She has trouble listening to loud things, like anything that breeds any kind of stimuli. Like, dude, she wants like meditation all day, every day. She's an interesting cat for sure.
That's so cool. I'd say another a thing that I think I really picked up from my mom is, and I wrote about this in the mindset manual of when I talked about her, which was perseverance. Just seeing the struggle from, my dad leaving when I was 11, working multiple jobs, trying to still provide, trying to be positive, trying to keep me out of trouble, trying to keep my sister out of trouble, like just balancing so many things, but never really like, she had breakdowns from time to time, I remember it, but never really like just falling apart, or at least not in front of us, and just like pushing, pushing, pushing. And so it was like she just kind of set the tone that it was just like, no, give up, man. And when you see that, you just don't forget it. It's
You don't
so cool.
forget it, and you remember the effect it has on you. For example, what you described your mother doing, my mother did too. My mom went through a hellish situation to protect me and my brother. She kept her mouth shut on certain incidents. And then a woman who lived in a 5,000 square foot home in a very nice neighborhood found herself divorced and had to go back to work and get a shitty job. And all the while, all she said to us was how everything was going to be all right, was how everything is good. And just like we talk about in business, if you're a leader of a business or you're a leader of a family, it is your job to make those beneath you believe that you're going in the right direction. But that doesn't mean us as leaders of a business, man, we're humans. Of course we have doubt. Of course we have fears. Of course we get scared. But at the end of the day, when it's time to go, it's time to go. And that's just being human. And just like your mom, man, my mom did the same thing. And as you get older and as you adapt those traits, you understand them. And once you understand them, then you're like, holy shit, man, I owe her a lot of gratitude.
Oh yeah, and when you see that, I just think that because it's necessity, John, they're so tough. And I remember not that long ago, my mom was struggling with a couple things, and I told her, I was like, Ma, the reason why I've been able to get through the adversity I had through business and building businesses and having problems and this and that, I was like, because you taught me how to like just persevere and be tough. And so I was like, I know you're feeling a little beat up right now, but like you're the one that taught me how to be tough. So now I'm flipping it back to you. Like you need to remember what you've made it through. Let me remind you what you've made it through, and what you're dealing with right now. It ain't that tough. And so everybody needs. So it's funny because like it's the flip side. I'm trying to bring her back to what I remember as a kid, and that was what was cool about writing the mindset manual is she was able to read what stuck to me.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what, I don't know that I could have ever articulated it, John.
Right, or had the opportunity to have a conversation with her, to really have her understand the effect that she had on you. And it's so interesting you bring that up, because when me and my mom see adversity differently, or she's obviously an older woman, she may get scared of some things that I don't. The irony is I go back to the phrases and the ideology that was taught to me by her. Yeah. And I reverb it back to her. And it's funny because it's like, that's the beautiful thing to me about life, is things are coming full circle. The gift that she gave me I am now giving back, I believe, to her and other people who I can be in a position to help. So yeah, it's just, man, the value of that stuff is off the charts.
I want to say that also one of the things that I learned was just total belief. And I think you touched on a little bit that during that struggle, that the belief or faith, whatever you want to say, was there. And I think because we always just made it through it, that I continued that, and it turned into, once I had a passion, once I had a purpose, once I knew kind of where I was heading, that I just took that same belief and faith that I kind of learned by watching her get through all that adversity and thought, all right, we made it through that. All right, I made it through this. And it's just like, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to make it through.
Yes.
Things might change from time to time, but that belief just never really wavered, man. And I think it's just because I saw it now. It wasn't business goals for her. It was like survival, John, at that point. But
well, survival, business is survival, I believe. You know what I'm saying? And on that tip, another thing I'd like to say about my mom is, ever since, literally, I would go to GameStop now, which is a huge company, used to be called, back when I was a kid, Funco Land. And you would go in there and you would trade in your video games. And every time I'd walk out of that, I'd be 6 years old, whatever, my mom would be like, Jesus Christ, you had that guy like about to cry. You're making deals left and right, this, that, and the other. And like, she always believed in me. And I'm obvious. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a confident person, sometimes to a fault. But in business, it's helped me a lot. But it's like that feeling of knowing that I'm supported in anything I do, and she will never question it, and she'll just say, John, I know you're gonna do it. I'll support you. Like, that means so much. And Cory, the sad thing about that is, at least me, I can only speak for myself.
mm-hmm.
That's not communicated enough. And I'm happy I still have her, right? She's still alive. So, these things like remind me, and to the familia, it's like, dude, man, while people are here, enjoy them, share, let them know what they've done for you, because what she's given me is I can't even put it into words.
It's funny because out of all the things that both of us have accomplished, when your mom says she got your back, it's like a different shield.
Oh,
right?
It's like it's like the tough of tough, and the irony is it's from a woman, but it's just like, I can't describe what it feels like, but what it does do is it makes me never question. Okay, you want to go do something, go fucking do it. You know what I'm saying?
Cool.
And without her support, I don't think I'd have that mindset.
Super cool. It's a lot of same aligned type of things here, Johnny. I'm saying.
For sure.
One thing I'm going to bring up is, both my parents, but I vividly remember my mom actually working out consistently. And it's kind of like, I think we'll really take it back. She was doing workout records, if that tells you anything.
That's old school.
Yeah, so she literally had like straight up, this is like aerobics days, like 80s. So she had like a workout record, and she did the ab wheel, but she used a rolling pin.
Yeah, nice.
And so it's one of those things where it was consistent. Her friends used to come over, so it was something that like it sticks out in my brain that they did, and not maybe for like 2 or 3 years, but I just remember like maybe 7, 8, 9 years old, like, oh, mom's working out again 3 days a week. Like, still, those are things that play in your mind that kind of mold you, like just that consistency. So it wasn't like she was competing or doing anything crazy, but it was just that it was around and she was involved in it. And so I think that it definitely, that helps. So there was just a consistent behavior there that I think I grabbed onto for sure.
You know what? It's funny. This is actually this is a fun episode because I'm really reminiscing, and it's like you see your mom do that. Obviously, you go into fitness, and I put a very high value, obviously, on the mind. And like my mom would always, I think 3 or 4 days a week, would do this course. There was a book written called The Course in Miracles, and basically it's about spirituality. And she had a group of women for years that would come over, and they would discuss this book like it was the Bible, because it's kind of an extension of the Bible, but it's not fundamentalist. And as a very young child, she taught me, listen, John, if this isn't for you, like, that's fine, but I want you to know that, like, whatever you feel inside, you follow. And, like, from a spiritual standpoint, like, I'm a very spiritual person. I don't talk about it a lot on the show, but it's like, that has done something to me, to know that it's okay not to believe every word of the Bible. For those people who do believe every word of the Bible, that's fine too. But for a child to know that it's okay, like, she gave me that gift, right? I would not have known that, you know? And
that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
But it was, once again, a consistent, the common denominator is it was a consistent behavior that you saw for years, same as I did. One thing I want to touch on is taking care of people. Not everybody likes their mom to take care of them, right? Like, Thanksgiving, you go, like, food's laid out, everything's there, not just like waiting on you, but just the fact that, like, there's something about mom's home cooking, her doing, cooking the food the way she's cooked it forever, which is definitely not on my diet. And just the way, but not only that, it's like everybody that steps foot in my mom's crib, and I don't know if it's like a country thing or what, but it's just like, you just feel at home. Everything's like top notch. And like, there's something about just like, the way she's just kind of operated like that for a long time. And I try to adapt that to some degree when people come to my place, because you want them to feel at home. You want to do everything you can. So I've definitely taken a little bit of that.
Well, I know what I've learned, and again, we're experiencing the same things. I think we're very blessed to have good moms. But yeah, when you walk in my mom's house, or even my dad's house, like, there's always a huge spread of food. There's you always. I think the point of that, Cory, to be honest with you, it's not about food. It's not about drink. It's about, when you come in a mother's home, they don't want you to feel a need. They want your needs to be taken care of. You're hungry, there's food. You're thirsty, there's this. Oh, you're tired? We got a couch right here. You know what I'm saying? That's a mother's instinct. And, you're right. Like, you talk about doing it. Like, when people come to my place, man, I don't think to put out a spread of, but, moms do. And it's like, again, how overlooked is that?
Oh, it's unbelievable. And obviously, because I'm married and have kids, like, I see traits of it at my own house.
Of course.
And I think Rachel's picked up a lot from my mom too, because, she's got a really good relationship with her. And so it's like one of those things where, I think it's a guy to woman thing, dude. There's not very many guys that are like, oh my gosh, I got to have 9 different potato chips whenever somebody comes in or whatever. We're just making sure that the game's on,
Did you get a case of beer? Oh, yeah. Okay, good.
And pizza's on the way. That's how I prepare.
Go order Domino's or something.
But it's one of those things where I think, once again, it's that nurturing thing, right? So it's like, and I think it is overlooked. I think that everybody wants to be nurtured, no matter what they say. Yes. I think that when somebody's got your back, when somebody's taking care of you, and so it is overlooked. I think if you haven't told your mom thanks for doing that, I would make sure you do. Everybody that's listening, especially on today or tomorrow, if you forgot to call them, you idiot, call her and tell her.
Honestly, guys, I do want to say something on that. Like, I've had strained relations with my mom. I know a lot of people who have, and I think about that, and all I can say is this: we're not going to tell you what to do, but I will promise you this: you will regret it, whether she's right or she's wrong. I do not condone abuse. I'm not saying if your mom's like way out of line and abusive. Okay, no. Outside of that, you will regret it, and make it right. Get back to center, because guess what? When you have a loving relationship with your mother, you feel centered. You feel grounded. Without it, man, I'll tell you what, I've been there because of my stupidity sometimes, and I feel lost. Like I feel like I'm at sea, and I don't know where I am. You know?
Well, some of the biggest problems that people have is when they don't know their parents. They look for them their whole life because of whatever their situation is. I always feel for those people because they feel like they don't have their identity. Because until you know where you come from, it's hard to like you feel a different kind of way, right? Now there's a lot of people that went through that and that are just fine, but I still think they always probably wonder, right? So it's like I will tell you, I only know this from I had strained relationships with my dad, and before he passed, made it better for the most part. But yeah, you always wish like, hey, I should have just quit being a dummy and just figured it out and got past it. There was no abuse there. There was just us being stubborn. And so yeah, if you're fighting with a parent, any parent or your mom, for basically something that's probably some people will go and fight for so many years they can't even remember why they're fighting. They just know they don't talk anymore. Just
Dude,
suck it up, man, and go talk to them.
it's like we have one life, and again, outside of that abuse element, you got to ask yourself this: like, is it really that important? Like, is my issue really that important? So let's take an issue, right? I'm mad at my mom because she swore at me in front of my friends. Well, let me ask you this. If you swore at your mom in front of her friends, do you think it would be right if your mom didn't talk to you for 2 years? Or do you think that would be extreme? That would be extreme. So we just need to basically just like, I talk about, picking your battles all the time, and it's just over and over again. Like, dude, shit ain't serious until it's fucking serious. And trust me, you'll know when it's serious.
Yeah.
Cory has had a day when things have been serious. I've had a day when things have been serious. You'll know it. Until then, let it go.
You'll definitely know it because it hits you in the fucking face and you got no choice.
And you're bloody and you can't get up.
Yeah. One thing I'll tell you I always do, and I just did it a couple of days ago, was I have a really, really good kid at the gym that's a high school kid. I've featured on my Instagram a few times. Really strong, hard work ethic, comes in the morning before school, and I went to his baseball game. I had a pretty unique thing where one of the guys that we train with that's a little bit older is the coach of one team, and Mitch plays, his name's Todd, and then Mitch is the catcher on the other team. They played against each other, and we all work out together, so I thought it was cool. I went to the baseball game. Well, this really nice lady comes over and sits down beside me, and I didn't know who she was. And she said, hey, I'm Mitch's mom, and I just want to come over and say thanks for helping him out and everything. I said, man, I just got to tell you something. You did a great job.
Right.
And because I know being a mom's hard. My mom, it was not an easy job. I was a total train wreck at times, as I already know you were. So I think we shared that. Like my mom, her favorite thing she used to say was, you didn't come with directions, Cory. I definitely didn't come with directions.
Oh boy.
So I always like to say, like, especially in a situation like that, if I meet somebody's mom, of somebody I respect, and they could be younger, older, if their work ethic's there, I know they're in check, like they're just good people. First thing I always say is, I just want to let you know you did a great job and you should be proud of it. And she looked at me, she took like a breath, she was like, thank you. I mean, it means, because that's the ultimate.
You're so right in that when you meet impressive young people and impressive people in general, and I don't mean just in business, I just mean good people.
Yep.
You really do, you don't owe, but it's really nice to have the opportunity to go and thank their parents, because the parent was the most influential factor. And I do not want to get off subject, but I do want to make a point, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of Trump hate going on, and we know Trump time is one of our favorite times.
Sure.
But if you look at Don, Ivanka, and Eric, I keep going back to this. Those are 3 children, like we talked about last week, that are good people, that are smart people, that are friendly people, and that honestly, like, are caring type people. So when people, call him the megalomaniac, crazy, he may be, you have your opinion, but like, that's an example. Like, Those are good kids. Like if my kids grew up like that, I'd be proud of them.
I'm once again, I'll touch on that because I'm impressed that none of them have been in the tabloids or in rehab that we're aware of.
Right.
And they have enough money to cover it up if they were. But regardless, it just seems like whatever or whoever raised them, whatever he did, it definitely worked. And so I'll give him that. And I'm always impressed. I'm not super surprised when people come from my type of situation or your type of situation, because that's where a lot of that gritty drive comes from.
Right.
And in the Activ8 Daily that'll be pushed tomorrow, I talk about it actually, and I say, like, why am I such a maniac? Is because I never wanted to go back. I never want to be in those situations again. I'm afraid. I actually said I'm afraid of that.
Of course, that's what drives us.
Correct, right? And so that's why I told my mom when I wrote the mindset manual, I was like, if there's anything in here that you don't like or feel bad about, you need to tell me. But just keep in mind that I wouldn't change any of it.
Damn right.
Because the story is what will make me great one day, I believe. And that is the stuff I lean on because I never want that to happen again. And so I told her, don't take it as a negative.
Right.
And she didn't, which was cool.
And you know how you talk about how you would never have anything change, and you had a lot of adversity, as did I. You know, it's so consistent, and I'm going to use a public example just to kind of show people our point, right? When you've dealt with mad adversity, you if you want to keep going in this life and be successful, you have to have mad fortitude, and you got to push forward. And you need to become a stronger person, as I believe me and you have. Now, what was interesting is I saw a documentary that just was put out on Anderson Cooper. If you are not familiar with Anderson Cooper's background, I'm sure you all know who he is on CNN. He's a Vanderbilt, okay? And his mother is Gloria Vanderbilt. She dated Frank Sinatra, all this stuff. And Anderson Cooper is somebody who had a brother commit suicide, who had a father die right in front of his face, and got torn between a world of Vanderbilt, which is like, you know, money that people cannot even understand, and then the real world, and he is gay, right? Which is extremely hard in this society, and I think he is one of the most grounded, intellectual, smartest contributors to our media that there is. And then you ask yourself, why? Why? Well, because he's been through so much adversity, and those are the people who literally have a lot to offer, and who I like to listen to, and ultimately can teach us a lot.
A ton, dude. One of my best friends that I deal with all the time is Maurice Claret. He's one of the most interesting people I've ever met in my life. And it's because his level of adversity is absurd.
You're great. Exactly.
Absurd. That's why I tell him, you are infamous, you're famous, you're successful, you run through all these problems, you have all these experiences that only from being locked up for 4 years to dealing with Warren Buffett. I mean, the swings are so ridiculous. Like, his insight is so thought-provoking, and it's like, it's unbelievable. And so those are the people, and I need to do more research on Anderson, because Rachel's told me about him before, and I've never, but I didn't realize he was a Vanderbilt. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
his mom's Gloria Vanderbilt.
Those are the type of people that contribute, like, a completely different world of insight, and that need to be in media.
Yeah.
That, like, Maurice is speaking to the youth and out there, and Anderson's on TV all the time, and like, we're doing shows like this, like, because you almost feel like an obligation to get it out.
Exactly, dude. It's like, and you know, not to go off on it, but like, Maurice knows the feeling of having the world at his fingertips, and then he knows the feeling of literally being on the bottom of everyone else's shoes. And then the decision he's made to open up minds, make people think, and contribute to people is exactly what I aspire to do. I know you aspire to do, and Cory, I'll be honest, I think we are doing it, and I'm most proud of what me and you are doing right now more than closing big deals or stuff like that. Like, I'm very proud of what we're doing right now because it's strictly for that reason, to try to help.
Well, yeah, and look, we've had audio problems, we've had video problems, we ran into all kinds of stuff, but guess what? The content is rich in knowledge. The intent is proper in that we really do. I really enjoy doing the dailies. The Kyle Snyder interview that just went up for the Activ8 is absurdly great in my opinion.
I gotta check that out. I heard from one of the Familia about it, and I've been traveling, so I haven't had the chance to check it out. But I heard it's absolutely fantastic, and that's why, here's one thing I want to say. I was talking to my brother about this. Actually, as we were doing the trail today in Sedona, I did an Activ8 daily with my brother, and one thing he said is he's like, man, I watch a couple people on YouTube, and he goes, I think your followers, I think they would be cool with you guys expressing this more. And he made a great point. He goes, the guys who I follow, they say literally, man, you can watch my content and not subscribe. You can watch it, right? It's YouTube. You can watch it and not subscribe. Or you can watch it and subscribe. That will allow me to continue to give you guys more and more and more content, better content. So please subscribe, because like if you value my content, that helps me. And so I think what we're asking is it helps us. If you subscribe, I understand you watch our videos, and thank you. Thank you for watching all of our videos. But when you subscribe, it's like this. Look at it as like a donation that doesn't cost you money, right? Yeah. That's what it is, bro.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
Thanks, big bro.
Thanks,
big bro. That was good.
AKA Duma.
Is that his nickname?
Duma.
What's that mean?
Basically, his name's Dominic. And when I was young, I think it might have been, I could pronounce it right. So, Duma just came out.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
John, tell me two things that we could close out each about our moms that are just either unique or just like one of the major reasons why, that we really enjoyed being around them time-wise, or just something that's just kind of cool.
Sure. Number one, the first thing that comes to mind, and it's amazing how many people, I don't want to say never get this, but do not get this to the level that they need. And my mother tells me she loves me. Honestly, every time I see her, 5, 6 times, every time I'm on the phone, she's probably told me she loves me 1,000,000 times. I know people who literally yearn for their parents to say that, and their parents don't say it. And it leaves a hole in their soul. So number one, man, I don't even, honestly, because of the way I am, I don't know how that affects me. All I know is that it's a positive, right? Because I've got it my whole life. What's your take?
You know what? My mom's the same way, and I will tell you that I carried it on. My children don't go to bed or wake up without me telling them I love them every day. Because you're not guaranteed tomorrow, man. They need to know it. And so if you're one of those tough guy dads that think it's cool not to tell your boy that you love him, you need to fucking get it together. I feel pretty strongly about this one because I've met people in my life that said their dad never told them they loved them. Okay. I could be the craziest powerlifting maniac. My kids can Google me and put it on YouTube and see me yelling F-bombs and pulling deadlifts. But you know what? When they get up in the morning, I come home from the gym, I give them each a kiss. I tell them I love them. I hope they have a good day. Before they go to sleep, I tell them I'm proud of them. I tell them I love them. If there's something that happened during the day that we need to go over, they know every day when they get up and when they turn in that daddy loves them. And I really believe that's a huge, huge deal. And that takes no money and no time to do.
And Cory, I don't want to go off on a rant about that, but what I will say is when people look to society and its weaknesses, I believe society is simply a reflection of parenting, right?
Yeah.
The better the parent, the more, let's say, prepared the child is to go out into the real world. And I believe parents like yourself create children who are respectful, who contribute to society. And, kudos to you for that, because that's valuable. And a lot of people would love to have that from their parents.
Well, I'm still making all kinds of mistakes too, because I don't want to paint myself as a great parent.
But you're trying, brother.
I'm trying my best. I mean, look, I'm like 1950s when it comes to please, thank you, I love you. I just return it back to the OG stuff on that. Like, we're at the candy store today, and my kid asked for a chocolate Oreo and didn't say please. And so you hear right out of my mouth, please? Yeah, please. I mean, he knows I better say please, or he'll ask the whole question, can I have an Oreo, please? Like, he just knows, like, and when he goes to somebody's house and I'm not there and I come to pick him up and they say, your son was very polite and we appreciate that. That right there is the compliment. Just like I said to Mitch's mom, you did a good job. Like, that's what I want somebody to say to me one day. Right. It's important. So I think that's real good.
The number two, I got a clear number two.
Please.
You hear people talk about happiness, the pursuit of happiness. My mom, through action and through words, both, has shown me what true happiness is. Now, my mom lives in an apartment that's about 850 square feet that I'm not that comfortable with her living in. And I've offered numerous times to buy her numerous homes in different places and, have things more comfortable. And she looks me dead in the eye and she says, I mean, this is where she is a boss. She's like, John, this is my life. And one thing I'm going to tell you is this. I'm happy. I am happy. My little house, she goes, what do I need? She goes, I have a courtyard. I have the birds. I have the sunlight. I wake up every day. I have great friends. I'm happy here. So thank you, and I respect you, and I love you for trying to, in your mind, right, better me. But I'm staying here because I'm happy. And I look at it like, that's a little apartment. Like, Ma, come on, we gotta.
It's not a dollar thing,
right? And that is the definition of action. That's like saying to somebody, "Hey, man, here's a Bentley," and they're like, "Listen, bro, my Ford Escort ain't never gonna break down.
Yeah,
that's good for me." You know what I'm saying? And that impacts me because that shows me that this woman who's she's got more friends that she loves and cares about, and I know she's happy. And that for me makes me look at me because I can learn from that and I can learn, oh, John, you make money. Oh, you could, yeah, that's great, dude, whatever. But like my mom living in this little place, that is the goal. That's the goal. That's the fucking goal.
Everybody has that, whatever that is for them. She just knows what it is for her.
Dude, honestly, I believe that whether people know it or not, true happiness is the goal. And I don't want to say it for it, but I believe, in my opinion, that is the goal for everyone. Some people don't know it. Some people think it comes in the form of a Ferrari or no. Happiness, my opinion.
Well, and I talked about this briefly, either on the podcast or one of the Activ8 dailies, about knowing that situation that you really want to put yourself in for work, for life, in that some people kind of like deny themselves of that for a really long time. Like somebody that goes to a job every day for 30 years and hates where they live, but just keeps dealing with it, right?
Absolutely.
So I think like your mom has done it because it's not a dollar thing. She said it's the sunlight, it's her friends, it's the birds. I love it because I feel kind of similar to, and we talked about this, like the town I live in, it just feels like it's me. Like I can't even describe it. Like I go downtown, I pull into my driveway, like I just feel like I'm supposed to live where I live. That's why I could have chose to live anywhere, really, just like you can. But it's just something about the town. The first day I walked in it, I just knew it.
Well, and that's fantastic because, you know, you got a smile on your face, and you should, because you're where you're supposed to be.
1,000%. And I think when you find that, it's kind of like, you know, really when I found Rach, and I always tell this story that when I was like 20, I found my wife, and I wasn't looking for a wife. I was looking for 15 wives. Sorry, Rach, don't listen to the podcast, so we're
That
good.
makes it, but Cory, I mean, that's a credit to your wife, because I don't mean to cut you off, but I always say this to people. You know, say, oh, John, are you going to get married? This, I said, listen, marriage and a wife and connection is not about a year, a date and time. It is about quality, not timing. So you got hit with quality, obviously, and you were smart enough to stop, not go do 15, which is hard.
We're talking about that on a mom episode.
Which is hard to
bad
stop
job.
doing and say, listen, I got something special. You know what I'm saying? And that's a credit to your wife.
I probably shouldn't have said that on a mom episode, but
you're being honest, and more. But I think that really shows, at least your wife, I would assume, how valuable she is to you.
Yeah, no question. Two things I want to touch on, and then I think we can wrap it up, because you had two really good ones. I think one thing I really learned that made my mom super unique was that we talked about the struggle, getting through things, because there was always a solution. And so she always said, like, there's always a way, and that would have been whether it's to pay the electric or to figure out there was some grant somewhere that would, you know, fill up the heater oil, or she just always had some hustle, dude, to figure it out, right? That was obviously not illegal. And two, it was just the fact that, like,
one thing on that, Cory. I want to say one thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is a phrase that also my mom gave to me, is when you're talking about, you know, the hustle to find it, right?
Yeah.
Here, what's the other option?
Yeah, survival.
What's the other option? There isn't one, right?
No. You
starve. Exactly. And she wasn't going to let you starve.
No, hell no. And so it's like, and I'll tell you, she's, you know, to her fault, she should have took food stamps, but she never did. And two, my grandpa read some of the stuff I wrote in my book and was pissed because she never told him. Because she was so proud. Yeah, she was, and dude, he got mad. Like, he read a part of it, and he was like, Michelle, why didn't you tell me that you needed it? Like, because he would absolutely, but she wanted to do it on her own, no matter how much she struggled. She's just hard-headed. So, in two, she always said, like, just because we might not have a certain amount of funds doesn't mean the house or trailer I do have can't be clean, and you will never be dirty. Like, it was one of those things, like, just because you might be, like, running the poverty line doesn't mean what we have, even if it's not nice, like, meaning, like, quality, expensive, can't be really clean, pressed, done. Like she said, we're going to
But even
everything.
if it's clean press, Cory, the thing that is ironic to me is, like, fuck it, you're in a trailer, whatever. You got your mom. It sounds like you love your mom. She loved you. Back to kind of what I was saying, fucking you're in a trailer. Happiness, bro.
Yeah. Well, it was just more like, it was like, take care of the stuff you have, I think is the point.
Oh, yeah, got it.
You know what I mean? So it was like, if the trailer's still kind of crappy, but it's still swept, dusted, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was more like, we might not be living in no mansion, but when it comes in, it's going to be tight. And so that was one thing, like, take care of the stuff that you got. And so, you know, those are two things that I grabbed from her. But, man, I'll tell you what, John, I really enjoyed the episode. Obviously, everybody that's listening, it was different than our normal format. We thought it was fitting with the day, and we just wanted to kind of go off the cuff and just, you know, kind of reflect on some stuff we learned from each other's mom, and we thought it'd be some great dialogue.
And one little tip for all you guys out there, don't let anyone mess with your mom, dude.
Hell no.
Don't let anyone play when it comes to mom.
No, for sure. So, John, they better give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. Guys, they better subscribe to fucking YouTube. My mom doesn't like when I say the F-bomb on.
My mom doesn't sorry, either, Mom. But she can't stop it, so sorry.
So, I say...
And take Duma's tip, right? Duma's telling you guys, man, help us out a little bit, man. subscribe.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
So obviously check out the Activ8 with Kyle Snyder that we just launched. And if this thing, you're watching this 2 years later, still go and check out the Activ8
Dude,
with
but
Kyle Snyder.
how about our Activ8 YouTube channel and how dope it is? Like, everybody who I talk to, right? Like, people who are friends of mine, right? You know, they know Activ8, but they don't really get it, whatever. Every dude who, and female who goes to the channel is like, man, you guys are like talking about some real stuff, like that call me up and they'll be like, oh, and I'll be like, dude, I mean, what? They're like, that's some real stuff. I'm like, well, yeah, that's what we're trying to do, you know. And like,
are your friends not used to hearing you talk about like deep stuff like this, Fosco?
Oh well, dude, here I hate rhetoricals. I hate answering question to question, but you are one of the only people that's a male and that's not a family member that I am able to get deep with conceptually and from a thought process standpoint. I mean, so no, my friends, they're not really able, or they're not equipped or ready to do that. I mean, do you have friends that are able to, outside of Maurice, right? Because he's been through that shit, like, are able to jam on this level?
Yeah, I would say because I've been mostly in the teacher role for my friends. You know what I mean? Because I was always
so they'll call you up when they get like advice and stuff.
And I would say, like, because I was the first in my friend group to do pretty much everything, business, marriage, children, I was always kind of out front. So,
Got it.
So I'm used to getting dialogue because I'm there usually probably asking my opinion. But I would say, like, it's just one of those things where I guess because I've kind of done a little bit of speaking, I've kind of like let some of this stuff out. Maybe this was the first amount of material you've done like this or people have seen you do. That's, I guess, what my question was.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's pretty cool, though.
It is, man. I love it, and I'm very proud. I'm very proud of our channel of this show. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, Johnny. Great show. You tell your mom I said Happy Mother's Day.
Tell your mom I said the same. What was her name?
My mom's name is Michelle.
To me, she's Mrs. Gregory.
Yeah, now Mrs. Thompson. She's remarried.
Happy Mother's Day, Mrs. Thompson. Happy Mother's Day, Mrs. Thompson.
Hey, wrap us up, Johnny.
You guys, this is not a business development episode. We apologize for not giving you tips, but this is an example of the things in life that are more important than business. But even in discussions like this, I think you heard the parallels that a good mother, right, a good backbone, a good foundation can provide for business. I mean, shit, without these mothers that are looking out for their children, like Cory's mom, like my mom, we would not be able to execute on the level that we do. And man, we got to give thanks for that. We got to give thanks for the love. We got to give thanks for the fact that they've been standing by us for 35 plus years. It's like these women will go to hell and back for us. And if we have a problem, Cory, if she does something that upsets you, I got to take my own advice here. If mine does something that upsets me, you know what, man? They deserve better. They deserve happiness. And we got to take it on the chin. You know what I'm saying? Mom, I love you. And this show's for you. You know what I'm saying?
Mom, love you too. Same thing. You're listening to Activ8 Radio. We are Activ8 Media. And we will see you on Friday. Boom. Peace.